I'm John David Birdall,
And I'm Zach Coleman.
and this is Comic Space, the only place in the whole galaxy where you can tune in, where you can geek out, and where you can learn something new about comics every week. Hey, Comic Spacers, I'm John David Birdall. I'm here with Zach Coleman.
Hello.
Hey! And this is the sort of intro that we're recording for, or just before, an interview, or I guess a guest spot with Bill Thompson. Okay, and so I do believe that we're supposed to cover, well, this is Comic Space first. Let's cover that. This is Comic Space. For those who don't know, right? And so this is a podcast, about everything comic books, everything about comic books, everything for comic books. And so I was going to cover, or at least I was going to talk about like how my week had been, and I guess right now it was more like weekend. And how the weekend was for me, it was like talking to like one professional and talking to another. Like, how was your weekend, Zach?
That was kind of the highlight of my weekend. Just talking to these individuals in the industry of different spectrums. We have Bill here who's been, and you'll find this out later in the episode, has worked with so many different companies that it's really amazing to get his insight on what he's had to experience and just him talking about the overwhelming aspect of it. I mean, just he kind of had that moment, and you can tell in the episode where he just like, I'm pinching myself. I'm really here. I'm talking to, was Bill Zemeckis?
Yes, or Bob Zemeckis.
Bob Zemeckis, excuse me. And just like, I'm really awake. I'm really awake. He's constantly pinching himself saying, oh my God, what in the world am I doing here?
Yeah.
I love hearing that. Like, I can't believe, how the hell did I get here? Moments from Bill, which is always great to hear. And just talking about the industry, what he's had to do, and the trials and tribulations that he's had to go through, and getting to where he is now. Yeah. And even him stating how he still feels that he has to work at it and keep on going and better himself. He still has to keep on going. Is something amazing to hear. So yeah, that was a real highlight.
Yes, it was. Oh my goodness. And we had so much, I mean, people are going to hear it. I'm not going to keep saying, perhaps we ought not to keep saying, it's kind of like, oh, you're going to hear this and you're going to hear that. But we ought to be so excited about it, and I'm excited about how it went, because it was really exciting.
Yeah, we got to give them a little bit to get their mouths watering for you.
Yes.
Salivating for more.
Okay, and speaking of salivating, okay, you had asked me if I had seen the Venom.
Yes.
Right, Venom 2. All right. And so I am supposed to salivate over that. Everything I saw in there. I'm not a huge Venom fan. In fact, I didn't really read too much. Actually, I probably read more Venom than I did Spider-Man. But that was not a lot. But no, just to see Carnage come to life that way.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. And it's just, it's ooey and gooey and yucky. And I have to say that it's not bad. It's not bad, but to watch him like Woody Harrelson, and then to transform the way he did into Carnage.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they take this character. It's going to be different. I don't know if you caught on to the different aspects of Carnage, but it seems like he's not just a guy with an alien suit over him. There was at one point in the trailer where his body actually opens up into a hollow space and bullets go through him. Yeah, which is kind of uncharacteristic of anyone with a symbiote in comics. So it's going to be interesting to see where they're going to take this character, where they're going to take the movie, and what they're going to bring into it. Because it looks like they're bringing in Shriek for a character from Maximum Carnage storyline. who has a sort of sonic ability that has the not only sonic but some sort of emotional or psychic turmoil ability that kind of made everyone go crazy during this story arc. So it's going to be interesting to see how they use it.
So can she control people's minds, or can she manipulate them? Is that
it's more of a manipulation? Yeah.
Okay.
I think it had to do, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but it had to do with the sonics or the sound that she produces actually having some sort of mental effect that made people go crazy. So it's been a while since I've read it, and I read about that character, but you'd have to look it up online to see exactly. But no, it'll be very interesting.
Yes, very, very interesting. I'm actually looking up marvel.fandom.com. I was looking up Shriek, and it's got a section on Maximum Carnage. And I'm not just gonna sit here and read it. People can check it out or something like that. But yeah, it looks like she had a pretty big role to play. I'm not gonna read too much of it myself too, so I can actually be surprised a bit when I see the film. But yeah, that's something to look into. And with her sonic abilities too, like the symbiotes, they're harmed by
definitely
high-pitched frequencies or sonic.
It's sonic attacks and fire-based attacks that they're weak to. So she probably will end up being crucial to the final battle.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so that's a little foreshadowing for you.
Okay, yeah, thank you for just kind of leaving it at that.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a video game, Maximum Carnage, too?
Yes, there was.
Okay, that was because I played that. But...
I think I have that, as a matter of fact. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's one of those like retro boxes.
Oh wow.
Like 200 games from one station to another game station, all that kind of stuff, all in this one little box and stuff like that. I think that's on there. I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
Hello, this is Zach Coleman with John Bertle, and we are speaking today with
Bill Thompson.
We were just wanting to talk with you and get some insight in the quote-unquote business. The industry, the meat and potatoes, because at this point you had said you had done doing work for Disney, you're doing work for HBO now.
Oh, let me pull it up. I can list it off. I just had my web developer put it on my website.
Great.
Oh wow. But yeah, you've had so much work and so many different companies and stuff like that. So we were kind of hoping that you'd give us some insight.
Yeah,
cool. I can list off the more interesting ones: Marvel Studios, Netflix, Disney Plus, Disney Motion Picture, Lucasfilm, Universal Studios Hollywood, Vice, Paramount, Ridley Scott Group, Stars, Apple, DC, NBC, Original Productions, Home and Garden, ABC, Showtime, Xbox, Sony, NBC, Acura, History Channel. I worked for Drake, Modelo, Sci-Fi Channel, Kmart, Reebok, GMC, Upper Deck, and then a company you never heard of that makes a ton of music videos, Philly Mac. And then there's a bunch of other ones. So
wow. So to say that you've been in the business is at this point an understatement.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've been around the block a couple of times.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate, honestly.
Yes. You have. How did you get started? How did you? I guess what was that start in the industry? And I got quotation fingers. I know, but it's.
I was driving truck in Fargo, and I got to the point I was so fed up with what I was doing. I actually went on Craigslist, even went to Craigslist to try to find jobs. And I entered this one. It was for I don't remember what it was. I just needed artwork for something. And there was actually a girl who lived right next door to me that I did not know when I was in college in New Jersey. She worked here, and she picked me out of like 500 people, and it ended up being for Xbox. So I started doing a TV show development, just doing paintings and sketches for Xbox. And then I got married like that week, and then the day before my wedding, the guy asked. The day before my wedding, he asked if I could start, and I said yes. And after a week, got too hard. I said, hey, should I just come out to LA to finish this job? So I called my boss. He said I could take a couple weeks off. 2 or 3 days after my wedding, I just hopped in the car and came here. And then it was a pain in the ass. Like, those guys are hard to work for. I still talk to them, but they were so hard to work for.
Oh no.
And then I got to the point where they said they could keep me on a little longer doing like, PA work and whatever. So I'm like, okay, great. I need to find something. So we sold my house over the phone, and my wife looked for a job out here for like 6 months. She lived with my parents, my dad. And then I lived in North Hollywood. She'd come to visit. And then 6 months later, she found a job and moved out here. And then for a while there, I was just doing like whatever I could find, like, reality TV stuff, sketches for independent films, just whatever I can get my hands on just to make it work. And I barely made it work. And then, I don't know how that worked. That was like 7 years ago. And then I tried to get an agent, and they were really dismissive of me. But then I got one for a recommendation from a friend of mine who does a bunch of stuff for Marvel, and it ended up being 3 jobs for them. And I got so frustrated with how I had to like answer to somebody that I just started making phone calls and emails and emails and emails. I wonder if I have it here. I do. So for 2 weeks, I just went on websites and would try to find anybody I would want to do work for. And I filled this book with names and dates and producers' names and different companies and like themed entertainment to visual effects. Oh, this is going somewhere. Okay. So I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember. It's been so long. I told the story so many times when I moved here, and then I kind of forgot.
Oh, okay.
So in this book, there's a guy named Mike Weigert, and I'll never forget his name. So out of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails, like I got a couple, like just a handful of responses. And I did a follow-up a month later with this guy named Mike Weigert at a moving picture company, and he'd do visual effects. Like they did all the visual effects for The Lion King, Alien Covenant. They just a huge, giant. It's owned by Technicolor, giant company. So he said, "Hey, you want to come in? We have a commercial." So I came in and I designed I did do little sketch paintings of, what is it, the little cuties? The little oranges?
Okay, yep.
So like the job was, he's like, I need you to put a mouth on this apple, because it was was it Snow White? It was the Snow White theme thing, where it's like, I need you to put a mouth on this apple, but it can't look like a butthole. Like that's what that's what he said. So I sat, and I'd never done it before, so I'm like, I could paint whatever, or at least reasonable enough. So I drew this thing, but I was talking to the 3D guy next to me, so we go back and forth. After 3 days, I was done, and they paid me more money than I'd ever been paid in my life per day. And then I went home, and then they called me back to work on some VR stuff. So I got hired to work on Jumanji. They hired me for like 2 weeks to just do sketches and like just get the idea across of how the VR experience would be. So I did that for like 2 weeks, and then I started introducing myself to everybody that would talk to me, and everybody was super nice. And then I met this guy named Robbie Bensal. He's an art director. He does all kinds of stuff, but he was working in film. And I got to know him, and it was just being nice. So he was actually showing me, because I signed an NDA so I could see this before Cats came out, and he was like, take a look at this. I'm like, what the is this? Whoa. He's like, our job is to make this look cool, and I'm kind of skipping over a bunch of stuff, but I'm like, good luck, good luck. But anyway, I met a lady named Mary Leibel, and she was the assistant to the VR guy. His name is Logan Brown. And I worked on that for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden they said, "Hey, could you come back? We're doing a VR for Alien Covenant." They just like basically Alien like pops out the back of somebody and falls, and then runs across the room and murders somebody, but it's in VR. So to do these little square paintings of like how I actually had to draw how the alien went in there and how he kind of scraped his way out and cut through the back and then fall. But then people would put the VR headset on and puke, because like when you do this in VR, like if you camera tilts down in VR, it was too much where people just barf.
Oh goodness!
Oh boy!
So yeah, and then that's the Ridley Scott job I did. With the director's name is David Karlak. Does a lot of cool stuff. And then I went home. I think that was like a month long or something like that. More than it needed to be, but that's fine. I needed the money. And then I'm sitting at home, and my buddy came to visit. And Mary, somebody got sick on a project, and they had to quit. So Mary, at lunch, since I introduced myself to whoever will talk to me, actually brought up my name at lunch because somebody got sick. And all of a sudden, I'm like, "Oh, could you come in? We have a project for you." And I'm like, "Cool, yeah, that's great." And then I went in and I had to read the script for X-Men Dark Phoenix. The first thing I've ever, yeah.
Still, just to walk in. I'm not saying like, "Oh, wasn't that a great movie?" It's like people will think whatever they're supposed to think, but just to walk in and be like to have that title. That
here you
title
go.
in and of itself.
I'm like, I was freaking out, man. I was freaking out. So, how does this work? So I worked. The producer actually said like, they're probably going to want to hire one of their friends, so you're probably not going to be here that long. I'm like, I do not care. Like, I've never done anything like this. I'll do what I can. Okay,
Just
cool.
appreciative of the opportunity.
Yep, I'll take it. And after 2 weeks, we went down or something. Like the production went down, and then they hired somebody else who actually I befriended later on. But in the meantime, I've been talking to this guy online. His name's Tony. I won't say his last name. But we were chatting. I told him like, "Hey, I got to work in this film for 2 weeks, but like they're gonna replace me." He's like, "Oh shit!" He's like, "I think I took your job." I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." I didn't expect it anyway. He's like, "Well, why don't you come over? We'll have lunch." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then we talked. He's worked on like, the hell is it? Captain Marvel. He basically works on all Marvel stuff. He's on a Marvel show right now. He's done. Actually, let me 1 second here.
Wow. So basically, your start in the industry was driving truck.
Right.
Well, it's just that I don't want to say desperation, but just that need to want to do something else that drives you. I'm in this position I don't want, and I guess it would kind of be desperate. It's like I need to get out of this.
I'm so tired of this. I can't do it anymore. Yeah. This is this dude's. Okay, so I don't know this guy from a hole in the wall. Just chatting him up online. He invites me over. His resume is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Eternals, Fast 9, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Bad Boys for Life, 21 Bridge, Captain Marvel, Venom, Black Panther, Bad Boys for Life, Dark Tower, Fate and the Furious, Kong Skull Island, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Captain Marvel Civil War, Furious 7, Winter Soldier, Fast 6, Argo. It just goes on and on and on. Mission Impossible 3. And he kind of felt bad because he took my job. And then he's like, "Hey, I'm having some people over. Would you like to come over?" I'm like, "Okay, cool." And it was the most ridiculous list of who's who in the industry that I've ever seen. Like everybody, it was like everybody who works on everything everyone will work on. And they're all super nice. I wasn't doing it for the job stuff. I'm like, these people are really fun. They understand what I'm talking about. And I befriended a ton of them. And then I just kind of made some friends. But I kept working, kept making samples. And I think there was a group it's called the Red Door. There's a bar in North Hollywood. Oh no, this is Burbank at the time. So every Thursday, people get together. Like they work on movies, get out of the office, go there for drinks. And then it's a long story, but that's a lot of shit. So I met my buddy Simeon, and then every Thursday we just kind of hang out, have a couple cocktails, bullshit, whatever. And I told him, everybody. It was really cool. There's a guy in the union who was like, "There's no reason you shouldn't be in." He tried to get me voted in, but it didn't work. But Simeon got offered a job. Well, he just works a ton too. He's working on Haunted Mansion for Disney right now.
Oh, nice.
He actually was working on Cosmos Possible Worlds of Season 2, and he couldn't do it. And he's like, he referred me. And to get in the industry, to get on the basically be able to work on big stuff, you need to be in the union. Mm-hmm. And you need a producer request. So like to get in the union, you have to do a couple things. One, you can do 90 days of commercials, and then you could do films, or you could be talk to a producer and he can request you. So it's like a little letter you got to write. But then after that, you need 30 days on the job within a year, and then you have to pay like $8,000, and then you're in the union. Cool. Yeah, it was a hard check to write.
And so you did. Okay, that was going to be my question. Yeah.
Oh, I paid that off.
Okay.
I paid that off a while ago. But anyway, I started working on this thing where I was doing the San Diego experience for Cosmos Possible Worlds, where I had to do like storyboards of this ship going down to the ocean and all kinds of weird shit, but it was in a dome. So I got hired for like a week or two to do that, or no, a week to do that. But I had a producer request for it. And I'm like, crap, I need 3 more weeks. And then they called me back and said, hey, we need to do some revisions on the show. Are you available? Like, yep. And they kept me on for like 4.5 months.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, and then I was in the union, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, this is an insurmountable task that I've been trying to do, and it just kind of happened.
Uh-huh.
And like, I know people have been trying for 15 years and haven't got it done, and I was just gifted this opportunity. And then I met a bunch of other people who've been really cool to me. I don't know, my name's just get tossed around. Like, I get calls from people that I have no business, I think I have no business talking to. And I have meetings with people that I'm like, oh my God, I've been watching your movies for 30, 40 years now.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's so bizarre. Like, I have a video of Bob Zemeckis dancing like a ballerina.
You watch that sometimes to cheer you up? Or, I mean, is that just one of those?
I think the thought alone would be enough.
Now, right? That it's like, I did it, right? I did it.
Well, I was talking to my cousin about this too. Like, I don't actually do that. I just kind of like, what's the next thing, and I focus on that.
Oh, okay. Not
really.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get a phone call. Like, I have an interview on a J.J. Abrams film or show tomorrow, and like they'll be like, oh my God, that's kind of cool, and then it'll go away and like, well, what do I need to do to prepare to get this job, and da-da-da-da-da.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you take that moment, and it's like you take the few seconds to recognize it, and then it's to work.
Yep.
Yeah, so it definitely seems one of the major themes of this story is just, or lessons, I guess, is just to stay humble. Just to stay humble.
Oh, yeah, the people who are egos don't last too long. Like, I've heard stories about people who kind of overgrow their britches and they don't actually get referred for jobs. And like, everybody here is really cool. You wouldn't think they are, but like, even like the big cats are cool. Like, for instance, so I had a meeting with Industrial Light and Magic. I was on a Zoom with Doug Chang, Stefan Deschamps, a bunch of producers, and Bob Zemeckis. And like, we are talking for about 10 minutes about this thing I needed to work on. And like, the production designer telling me like the locations and all this stuff and what I have to do. And like about 10 minutes in, Bob stopped the meeting. He's like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I forgot to say hi to Bill. And Zemeckis stopped the meeting, said hi to me, and then we went about the day. Coolest guy in the world.
That is neat.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's just that's the story I've heard too from people in the industry going to conventions and stuff like that. Is you have to be nice, simply because if you're not nice, you're not going to stick around much longer. You need to be not going to get work.
My teacher used to say you need to be fast, good, or personable. You need to be 2 of those 3 things, or you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I remember vividly where I was sitting at the Dempsey's one day. And I think I was farming at the time, and I was talking to this art student from Moorhead, and you could tell because they all, I know we all went there, but like, this guy has the.
I was just about to say, some people probably haven't gone there. So yeah, Dempsey's is a bar in downtown Fargo, North Dakota.
Oh yeah. So I was talking to this kid, and I was going to the Kubert School, and I was back for the summer. I remember this because I'm like, hey, because we're talking about art and what you have to do, and da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, hey, could you draw like the Hulk fighting Wolverine on a mountain and da-da-da-da? And he's like, getting cocky, absolutely. And I looked at his work, I'm like, you absolutely can't do that. You are useless. Like, what are you talking about? Like, but I mean, that was years ago. But like if you have that attitude and you can't bring it up, like, first of all, you can't talk like that in the industry at all. Like, it's not going to last. Like, people just quit calling you. But I don't know. That's stuck with me for a decade now. Like, it's stuck with me. Like, that dude. Like, that dude and the way he said it stuck with me for that long.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you don't like you're being told that or being talked that way, so why would anyone else enjoy it? So it's it's respect.
Yeah, like the budgets are so large, and you have such a big responsibility, and some of these guys, the VFX guys, are killing themselves, and like, you're just trying to problem solve, and you have enough to figure out, like, and then you add being a dickhead on top of that. Like, I don't need it.
Yeah, it's a team effort. I know that sounds kind of cheesy and corny but whatnot, but it's like, if you're only hindering this very big project that already has a lot of stress on it, than having someone there who's not working, who has an attitude, has an ego, and is being just so dismissive. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to waste this time and stress. You may be good, but you're never going to be that good. So, you know, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the people you're working with. I remember this one conversation that I heard off another podcast talking about Bill Nye. Bill Nye is the actor who was in Underworld. He did one episode of Doctor Who. It's not Bill Nye the Science Guy. It's the other guy. Anyways, but he was, they were talking about his whole process of going into interviews and stuff like that. And the way he does it is he goes in and says to the people, how can I help you? You know, it's not an ego thing or anything like that. It's like, what can I do to help you guys in this production, in this movie, in whatever you're having me for? And if I don't work out, fine, great. I can, you know, if I happen to know somebody, then I'll recommend them and say, hey, this guy's better. And that's you kind of helping the team in a way that just, you know, you're a team player, no ego. And if I'm not right, that's okay. That's fine. But people will remember me for that.
Yeah, like if you say no to something because you can't do it, they respect you more for it. I know people got called back because they did that.
Yeah,
and that's so what I myself like. It's like, and I'm not saying we're on the same level. I'm not saying that at all. It's just, you know, with the jobs that I've been asked to do, like teaching and commissions, and freelance work, and all that.
Teaching would be hard as hell.
Oh, yeah. And so I've been teaching, and you learn right away with teaching. Okay, it's like. You've got a classroom, you've got, sometimes the parents are in there, sometimes, you know, all of the time the participants are in there, you know, and so you are held to a standard, and you will tell people what you can do and what you cannot do, okay? You don't mess around, because, people will descend upon you. You know, it's not just like you'll be fired. It's not like you'll just be fired. It's kind of like, no, we let you in. This is a family sort of, you know, situation or, you know, environment. You know, and we let you in here. We trusted you. And you didn't tell us, you know, what you could or could not do. You know, you weren't straightforward with us. And so, yes, I've run into it right away. So for me, I say I can do this at this time for this long, you know, so tell me if you need me. You know, if not, I'm totally fine, you know.
Well, people don't understand the power of no either, because like I right away I'd kind of do whatever I needed to do just to get by. But then when I got the position where I could say no, I'd actually get more money. Like, it's so weird where they'd offer you something like, I don't want to talk about amounts of stuff, but like, I got offered this job. So I did a job for the guy who produces all of like Seth MacFarlane stuff. I did a comedy. I did this animation thing, or animatic. And he's like, we have X amount of money. Well, I told him like, well, I'm 25% more than that, and I can do it at night. And I just left it at that. Like, I need 25% more money, and this is the time I can do it. And he's like, okay, sounds good. Start tomorrow. Like, that was it. But I know people who will actually like say, I can do it for a little bit less so I can get it no matter what. And there's a lot of those people who screw themselves out of tens of thousands of dollars a year. Tens and tens by doing that shit.
So let's talk about how creativity, you know, can take you to so many different places. And it's really the limits that you put on yourself, perhaps because others say, right, oh, I see you doing this, or you're never going to achieve that, or something. You know, and perhaps you internalize it, you know, or you just didn't know. Oh, wow, there's a school for that, or there's a job that does that, you know? So it's like, what was your experience with that, Bill, where it's like, oh yeah, I could be designing cars that do exist, or I could be designing ones, you know, that inspire people, you know?
I'm honestly a little sour on it because like, well, I've always wanted to be an artist. Well, when I was in my early 20s, I decided I want to go learn how to draw. And I didn't get a lot of like positive response on it because like nobody back home does it like on a scale to what I've been able to do here, or like, oh, that's just somebody else who does it. Like my roommate had that attitude, like, well, there's somebody else who could do it. I'm like, well, then you're never going to do it. Like, you're never going to do it if you have that attitude. Where, I'm not really sure what my comment is here, but like, it's frustrating that people don't understand how much is involved. Like, especially during the pandemic, everybody and their brother has watched every TV show that ever existed, and right now there's such a demand for more, and there's a lot of money to be made to do this. And like, I was making $17 an hour driving truck. I do a little better than that now. But but nobody knows that you can go do this. Like, it's like a pipe dream. It's like, like either back home, like it's either you're a welder, you work for a farmer, or your dad gave you a farm. It's just very limited scope, but you can go and do all these things that you've been doing for forever. Like I got a letter, like a thank you letter from Tom Hanks, and I'm like, until I got stuff like that, like people are like, oh, you're going to go draw. I'm like, you son of a bitch. Like, you son of a bitch.
Well, I mean, I'm from the same background. I mean, I grew up in rural Indiana, and it was pretty much the same idea. It's like, no, you're not going to go to art. You're going to be a poor artist living on the street. And that was always my parents. So you're going to go do this. And then maybe you can go, once you have this backup or whatever and all that kind of stuff, then you can go do whatever the hell you want, and hoping that this pipe dream of mine will go away. And you just have to have that mentality. It's like, no. And you have to come to that realization, there are going to be some hard times. There is going to be a struggle. With you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, my God.
With you, it was just, I mean, you said yourself that you just got lucky knowing the right kind of people at the right time, whereas other people aren't that fortunate. But, it's just, you got to go through the crucible in order to get to the promised land, I guess, or at least get to that point where you can say, okay, I am doing this.
My cousin actually had a nice quote for me the other day, because like I told him, like I basically act like it was kind of given to me, but he's like, isn't it kind of crazy where luck equals preparation? Wait, how the hell is that? Where preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, well, I didn't really. It just happened to, like, I found the opportunity. It's not like I wasn't seeking these things out. I should probably give myself more credit there, but I don't.
Well, I mean, it's also that too. I mean, I've heard this story not just for artists like we are, but other artists like in theater or in music and stuff like that. It looks like it was an overnight success, but I've been doing this for 5, 10, 15 years. I mean, I remember hearing some stories of artists, and I can't particularly remember who, in comic books, who's like, I was in a car dealership until I was 40, and I didn't get into the business. I mean, I had like sort of like a false start somewhere like on year 5 or anything like that, but I didn't have anything until 40, 41, and it's just keeping with the grind. I mean, that's what I think separates it from just a job. There's a passion behind it. You can't see yourself doing anything else. And
dude, when I was driving truck, I literally felt like I'd wake up and something's missing. Like I just felt awful. It was this weird gut pit feel. It's almost like you just got broken up with, like that day. Like every single day I'd wake up, go drive to Canada, cross the border, wait there for 2 hours, do the thing, come home. Like, but every day I was like, oh my God, this is such a waste of time. Like
exactly. I mean, I hear you right there. I mean, just every grueling day. I mean, having to do the jobs that you didn't want to do, or the education that you didn't want to do, all that kind of stuff, and just going through that grueling and stuff like that. I mean, it got to a point in Indiana, I was like, I just gone through the worst demoralizing event in my life to date, and I have no prospects in this path that was chosen for me that I didn't choose, and it was just like, that's it, I give up. I'm going to do what I want to do. And that's what got me out of Indiana, by hook or by crook, and finding any kind of way whatsoever to work to those goals, to work to those dreams. And it's been hard. It's been a struggle. But then again, I've accomplished things that honestly no one in my family or ever could hope for. I mean, I'm the first person in my family to get a college education. I'm all the connections I made during college. John, you're one of them. Bill, you are too. All those experiences. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm pretty damn close. And not only that, I'm further on. Yeah, I'm further along than I would have been had I stayed in Indiana. Definitely.
There was I heard Jim Carrey talk at a speech, and I don't know, it was really great. He's talking about how his dad, he told him that he should go do it, whatever he feels necessary, like whatever he needs to do, and he did very well. But he was talking about his dad, who wanted to be a comedian, but he wasn't, so he got a job as an accountant, which he didn't really care for, but he needed to do it to get by. And then at one point, he was later in life and got fired. So he's like, the lesson I took out of that, you could spend your entire life doing something you hate and still fail.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's just you have those moments, even when you're following your passion, you're following your desire, your want in life, and still have those grueling days. But then again, there are those days where you do succeed, and I think there you will have those moments. And to me, at least, they seem much more powerful simply because they don't come often, where you get those I did it moments. I'm further away. College was definitely one of them. When I got my diploma, all that kind of stuff, I was like, oh my God, this is good. This is great. I accomplished something that no one else thought I could. And I did something that no one in my family or no one in my life has accomplished yet. And personal respect to that myself, it's like, I did this. I didn't have help from anyone. This is all me. And to take a personal pride into that. I mean, those are the days you live for.
Right. I need some of that. I don't do any of that. Like,
I don't.
Are you kidding me? Should we go through your credits again?
Oh yes.
Well, I don't relish on that stuff. I just like, what's next? Like I graduated at Hubert School, and when I did, we all panicked because we had so much work. Like, we all wake up the next day, oh shit, what to do today? And then nobody had anything. Like, oh, we're done. We're done. But instead of being like, oh crap, I did this thing where like I didn't sleep on a Tuesday for like 6 months at a clip because we had so much work to do. But instead of being like, hey, I accomplished this shit, I woke up in a panic because I had added up my monthly payments for my student loans. I didn't work.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm like, I need $1,100 a month to make my student loan payments. What in the hell am I going to do? It ended up being a lot less next holiday. But like at the time, I just couldn't sleep. I'm like, oh shit. I never once been like, oh, I thought I got Joe Kubert, Andy Kubert, Adam Kubert, even though Adam's the worst teacher on the planet.
No.
He's terrible. He's terrible. I didn't say like Joe would like sit down with me for like an hour or something at night. Like when I go in, his office, working on like facts from Sarajevo, I think. And I go in there and he'd spend time with me. I didn't actually relish in any of that stuff. My accomplishments, it was like, what do I have to do next? Like I kind of wish I had more of the. I don't know how to do that though.
Well, I mean, it's kind of taking a couple of seconds of your day and realizing, oh my God, I'm here. Just taking it all in and stuff like that, and then getting back to work. It's like I said earlier. It's just you need to take those few seconds to appreciate it.
I'm afraid that if I do that, then I'm going to slow down because I want to be complacent with anything. Like I'm weird like that. Like if I know too many people that have been like got to a certain level and just kind of like I'm good now.
Well, I mean, that's definitely me, especially with, all your credits and stuff like that. I mean, in this job, or at least your job in particular, there doesn't seem to be one set place. You're going from, Warner Brothers to Marvel. You're always going back and forth, back and forth. So that could be, that's good to have. And I'm not necessarily saying complacency. It was like, oh, I'm good here at this company. No. But just taking a moment to realize where you are in this place and time in present circumstance and realize, oh, I've been all these places and I'm going here next and stuff like that, and just taking a moment to enjoy it.
Right.
Not necessarily saying, slow down or anything, but just to have the presence of mind to say, oh, I'm here. Imagine how many other people would kill to have that.
Oh, yeah, I get that part. But like, it's almost one of those things where like it's superstition. Like if I enjoy something, then I'm gonna be okay with it. It's a weird thing I got.
Yeah, no, I get it, and it's it's the mindset. You're kind of just going from one to the next. Like, come on, let's go, because you don't know like from weeks to months when the next job is. It sounds like you have enough security, and you're on your way to getting a group together. Yeah. So you have that opportunity, but it's I guess that's what I'm saying is it's a good mindset to have where you're just okay, I gotta focus on the next job. But again, just having that mindset to say wait a few seconds or take a minute and saying look where I am and appreciate it.
My cousin asked me that a couple months ago, and he's like, are you serious? You've never done that? Like, no.
Well, I guess for me, and let me just chime in a little bit with. There have been, again, thank you so much, Bill. Thank you so much, Bill, for taking time.
Yes, thank you.
Explaining.
Oh, dude, it's so good to talk to you guys. It's been so long.
It has. Yeah. And so for me, like I've experienced, like I know I have talent. People have told me I've had talent for so long. I've been praised for it. I don't know how to have an ego about it, but people will say to me, you should do this and you should do that, you should be drawing this. You should go into this line of work. You should, and it's like what I did for that, it's like, because I followed that for a while, because it's kind of like, it's like, oh, they probably know a little bit more than I do, or, and then I found it's like, you know what, I'm just supposed to be precisely where I'm supposed to be, and if others need my assistance, if others need my skills and yes, talent, I'll do it, and it's not, for me, it's not about making a buck. I've been saying it's about making a difference, if it makes a positive impact, if it brightens somebody's day, or if it makes something that did seem impossible possible, yes, that's the reason I'll do something, and that's,
I like that.
I should do something. I should be doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
I've given advice to a lot of people about career advancement, and nobody listens to me, so I kind of quit doing it. Like, it got to be really hard to be like, so where are your samples, where are your animatics, I can give you, teach you kind of how to do this thing, and then they would, like 6 months later, like, they actually haven't even run in a sketchbook. Like, it's so frustrating. But when you were speaking, like, about like what you should do, is one of the things I did in college where I kind of do it still, but like, a lot of people are like, well, how do you get where you're going? I'm like, well, you go talk to the people who do the job that you want to do, and then ask them how they did that.
Yes.
Like, I would ask dude, I had balls of steel. Like, I would ask everybody.
Oh,
but like classmates are like, how do you do that? I'm like, you just go up and talk to them, because I don't want to drive truck, because I don't want to farm again. I don't want to.
And it goes back to that sort of, like I was saying earlier, that almost desperation. You get to that point where you're in your end of your rope, and it's like, I need to find a way to get out of this, because I can't take it anymore.
It's like, it feels like I was swallowing failure. Like, I was just eating it every day. Like, it was a sour pill. Ugh.
Yeah, and you just don't love it. You hate it, and it's a horrible feeling. I'm right there with you too, man. It's just, it's horrible. And I can tell you what, even on this path that I am, because I'm not where I want to be yet.
You picked a really difficult path, though. Like that.
Path did you pick? Just to make certain people know.
Oh, comic books and stuff like that. Yeah. Comic book artists, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it is a difficult road, and there are days where it's like, oh my God, I'm doing a job I don't want to do, and stuff like that, just to make ends meet and stuff like that. Because like you said, Bill, it is a hard business to get into, but it's never ever going to be as bad as that one demoralizing day where I felt so small.
Amen.
And swallowing that bitter pill, like you said. It's never going to be as bad as that, and that's a good thing in my opinion, because there are people who have to live with that bitter pill for decades because they listened to somebody who told them they can't do it, or they shouldn't do it, or what about your family? How are you going to support yourself, and all that nonsense and stuff like that. I mean, it's a good idea to have, but when you're trying to better yourself and have that job that you love and follow that passion, that's not a good thing to hear. Well, it kind of goes back to like what we were saying earlier with people starting so late and having to do those crummy jobs. I mean, Stan Lee, the godfather of comics, I mean, he didn't start breaking out in comics until he was 42,
right?
If I remember correctly. I think that was with Fantastic Four.
I think he did Captain America first, didn't he?
No, I think he might have introduced him, but I think his breakout role... No, wait. Captain America wasn't him. That was before him. And I
thought he did strips with him, and then it kind of exploded or something. Anyway, go ahead.
Zach. Yeah, I had heard, and I'll let you tell the story. But as far as I know, he had said, like, I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, and I'm almost doing a Stan Lee impression here, but it's like, I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, and then came the Fantastic Four, right? Yeah,
because I remember that conversation. He was doing like monthly horror monster type books. It was like Gorge and all these, sounds for monsters' names and stuff like that, and. It was getting to the point where he was like, he was going to quit. And his wife had actually said to him, he's like, well, why don't you do a story that you want to do anyways? You're going to, quit. And I have to double check my facts there, but it was pretty much, it wasn't until he got to that point where he was, damned if you do, damned if you don't, I'm gonna leave anyways. He actually started doing what he wanted, and that's when he got his recognition. But the point of it is like he wasn't until his 40s until he did that.
Right. That'd be last year for me. Like 42 is last year for me.
Yeah.
It just started.
And I'm like 36 now, and I'm just getting to the point where I'm starting to produce my own stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
So where I can even consider it. And it's that road that you have to walk. I mean, it could be a year, it could be a couple decades. And we pray to God that it's not that long, but it's just, I mean, no one wants to, they always say, whether it's, your passion or love and stuff like that, it doesn't matter if it's, it takes you 10 years or 10 days and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, that's good. And I got to that point, but I want to try to have that as long as I can. So, there's always that voice in the back of your head is like, yeah, it'd be nice to get there, but I'd like to get it just a little bit sooner. But again, it's this walk you have to, this path you have to walk, this crucible you have to go through in order to get there. And everyone's journey is different. So, but you have to understand it. Everyone's going to be unique in this. Some people
there are so many people I know who are in their own way. It really makes me sad. Like, so many people like, I want this thing, and they just hold back, or they're too scared, or like, it's crazy. Like, you could be dead tomorrow. Just go do, like, my aunt died recently.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Where I appreciate that. She got cancer, and then just gone. Yeah. And then when I came back from, like, oh shit, I'm gonna start a business. Like, then I just went whole hog. I'm like, we could be done tomorrow. Like, I could die tomorrow. Just gonna do the things I want to do, and I don't do the things I don't want to do. I just don't.
Yeah.
Just don't. You want to do this thing? No. We'll pay you a lot of money. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Well,
I do not care.
I was kind of in that same situation. Like, just during the pandemic, I got a job, that was going to pay well and stuff like that, but it just took up too much of my time. I was like, sorry, no. I don't want to waste all this time because I have other things, other priorities I want to do with my art and writing and all that kind of stuff. But I think that's actually, if there's going to be one of the very few silver linings to this lockdown, I think a lot of people are coming away from it. It's like, we could be gone tomorrow, because so many people had died from it, from COVID and whatnot. And they're coming away from that. It's like, I don't want to do this job anymore.
Have you heard the phrase, the Great Resignation?
No, I haven't.
So there's so many people who's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I quit because they got locked down or whatever. Like, there is an immense shift in people like, I hate this job. I'm not doing it anymore.
Okay, so yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's just so many people, they don't want to deal with the traffic. They don't want to deal with the staff, the hubbub, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I've had so much time with family, with friends, I can, do this from home or something like that. Or they simply saying, like we have been, it's like, I hate this job. I want to go do something else. I want to do something I love, because so many people are dying around me. I could be gone tomorrow. So, yeah, sorry, I'm not sorry. I'm gonna go.
I imagine you, Zach, now I'm thinking of the end of Endgame, okay, Avengers Endgame, and instead of old Cap sitting there, old Steve Rogers, there's you sitting there, because you made the choice, you had the chance, right, to go to the moment, right, or, you could go to where you were supposed to go, where you wanted to go, and you did go there, and you're just sitting there, just kind of like, yeah, it was
yeah, except I don't have Peggy Carter beside me, so
I do love how he's like, I don't think so. Like,
nope.
You want to talk about it? I don't think so.
No.
And so that's my question for you now, Bill. It's like, so what have you been watching? What have you been reading? Let's just, Zach had said, this is all about geeking out. This podcast can be all about that.
Or do you have time to?
Yeah.
I'm not that busy. Like, I'm on 2 committees. I'm a council member for the union. I'm starting a company, and I work full time, so I guess it is a little bit.
Yeah. But it seems like you're being responsible. If nothing else, you're taking that responsibility role, and being on a committee is heavy responsible, and you're kind of giving back, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, I did it like for career advancement, but it doesn't really work that way. But I'm still kind of, I'm going over budgets and all kinds of stuff. But what was the question again?
Oh, so what have you been watching? What have you been reading in those moments?
I've been reading nothing.
Oh.
This is gonna sound really weird, but like I've had such a busy year. Like March, I worked 2 full-time jobs, and it was well worth it financially. But I got tired, tired. So honestly, I've been playing video games. Like,
okay.
I will get done with work. Granted, I work out 3 times. I have a trainer, so I get out, still work out because it's super important.
Yeah.
I do that 3 times a week. I work about 6 o'clock. I will log off, and most of the time I'm done by 6. And I will just turn my brain off, and I'll play PUBG. Like I haven't been watching TV. That's not true. I watched Mythic Quest, and I think during work, you know what? That's not true because during work I'll have movies playing. So like I'll go back and do stuff I like A Million Ways to Die in the West, Men in Black 1, 2, 3.
White Noise, definitely.
Yeah, but I'll catch myself like all of a sudden I'm just watching a show. I'm like, oh shit, I got work to do.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, that happens too.
But again, like nobody like hawks over me, so like I have a delivery time or a window where like I'll get a scene and like how long it's gonna take? I'm like, I don't know, like a week, and I don't talk to anybody for a week. Like I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
Or like there's been times where I work on something for a month, I don't talk to anybody. Like I'll literally just hand stuff in every so often. I don't hear from them. Like Zemeckis gave me like 2 notes over like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was supposed to go to his office every Monday, but he's like, oh, okay, good, next, and he's just fine with everything I did.
Yeah.
But I am so. One of my friends, Josh, he actually said that he's worked on oceans, just like unbelievable stuff. Like he's turned Spielberg down because he just didn't want to do it.
Mm.
And he's like, I work on movies all the time. He's like, I don't want to watch one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like that's all.
How the hot dog is made. Like I've heard that. Yeah. Once you see how the hot dog's made, you're not going to eat the hot dog. You know.
Well, the thing is, like he's going back and watching now, but like he's literally just you design sequence all the time. Like you got to know where the camera is, where the actors are going, stunts. Like you have to figure out all this stuff, and then when you start watching a movie, you can tend to sometimes, not all the time. Like I look at shots like, oh, they did this, they did this, they did this. This is weird. I don't like how this person's going. Like the camera shifted. Like you have screen direction. Like somebody's running this way, then run this way, and then run this way. So it kind of screws it up.
Your work brings on.
Yeah, it's sometimes. Like I watched Mission Impossible, the latest one, and all I did was just watch how they did the chase scenes. Like I was just like, okay, there's a camera mount, or the camera mounts here, camera out there. They actually cut the car out of this one, or they cut the roof out of this car, so you can't have a camera in it.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, your work brain's on. Definitely. It makes complete sense. I've kind of been in the same situation simply because of my job that I was at for like 4.5 years. And then the lockdown came down. I was like, I just want to rest. Okay. Yeah. I just want to, I've been working this grueling shift for grueling hours and all that kind of stuff. I just need, this is a perfect time to take me time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it sounds exactly like what you need or what you've been doing. So I totally hear you on that one.
I was literally like, I've been so sick of my office where I literally like my wife can't go anywhere because her job is time zone related, so she can't like go to like Bali or anything like that. I was actually looking at going to Africa for like 2 weeks just like to get out of my office.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like that too sometimes. It's like, well, especially when you're in comic books and stuff like that, or if you're digital art or something like that, you're sending your stuff over. You're sitting at a desk for like 8 hours or sometimes even longer. I mean, and whatnot. So it's just, and that's why I wanted to try to sneak in this point of, applauding you for your exercise regimen. I think that's something that people in this business don't even really think of that much. It's like, make sure that you take care of yourself and you just get out of the house. I'm very much to the point where it's like, I can't be here all day. It's not like necessarily, it's not like restless leg syndrome or something like that. I just need to get out and see elsewhere, and whatnot, and just to take care of yourself and make sure you're healthy, because again, you're sitting on your butt for at least over 8 hours a day, sometimes longer if you have a deadline, or if you're you want to make sure you got time to edit and all this kind of stuff.
Even a walk. But like, I'm the type of person who will like skip lunches all the time and just work through the day until I'm done. So like, I literally pay a guy to work out for 3 hours a week because I know I'll do it because I'm paying for it. He's actually a good friend of mine now, but Like, it's so easy to not. Plus, there's not a goddamn chance in the world I'm doing the workouts he's making me do. No, no way, no.
But there does have to be that certain time set off to the side where you have to take care of yourself in whatever aspect. And it's, you know, I kind of run into this problem too, where it's, yeah, I can devote so much time, a lot more time than I do. And I could probably get to there faster, but I would just be burned out. So, you know, it's important to me to take the time. It's like, okay, yeah, I could get this done within a couple of days, but I stretch it out to a week, this page or these couple of pages or this script or something like that. And it's like, yeah, I can burn myself out on this, but why? I'm not really on a deadline. It's going to be more frustrating for me, it's more of a strain. And I have this opportunity where I can just take my time and you know, flush it out, make it good, and still have that time for myself and to take care of myself. So I think that's also important too. Now, when you have deadlines and stuff like that, you know, that's important as well, but you also have to honor your commitment. But yeah, definitely make sure that you at least take an hour a day and just go out, walk, you know, or something like that. It's
easier in your 20s because like your body's bulletproof. But when you hit 40, you're like, oh my gosh. So just keep running. Like, you never get hurt when you're moving. You're just sitting there, you get destroyed.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much for saying that, Bill. And I do imagine we're probably supposed to be about done, but it's like, you're not going to get hurt if you keep moving. And that sounds like great career advice too. You're not going to get hurt if you keep moving. You know? I got a friend of mine in Denver, and I apologize for, I've swore a couple times. I don't know how family friendly this podcast is, but like, this is the last time I'll do it. Okay.
But because it's very poignant to the story. So my buddy Todd in Denver, he's a writer, and I met him at Comic-Con. Or when did I meet him? Yeah, I met him at New York Comic-Con in 2011. I'm supposed to talk to him later today. And like, he's talking about like, you know, making stuff. I told him like, you could write for films, da-da-da-da-da. And when one of the conversations I kind of liked, he's like, well, first of all, you just make a piece of shit, and you make another piece of shit, and it's a little less piece of shit. And eventually you won't be a piece of shit. You're just making up pieces of shit until it's not a piece of shit.
Gosh.
And on that note, I think
there we go. I guess, yeah, we could have opened with that, and
feel free to cut that one. I don't know, that one stuck with me, and I say it to a lot of people now, where like, people want to get in the industry. I'm like, well, just make a bunch of garbage, and then eventually it won't be garbage.
Well, yeah, just work. You know, just work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks, Bill.
No problem. Man. I felt like I was jawing about myself too much, but I don't know.
Well, you are our guest, so I think you're entitled to have a little jawing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of the things, like, I almost thought we were just having a phone call. Like, oh, you're doing a podcast.
Yeah. Well, that was Bill Thompson, guest, friend extraordinaire. I'm really thankful once again. I know we said it a couple dozen times, but really thankful for him to come in and just give his insight and his experience into all the work that he's done, and all the trials that he's had to go through. And hopefully it gives us insight, you insight, and a better understanding of the job that we, well, maybe not job, but just the path ahead of us. You know, it's not easy. It can't be for something you love, I think. You got to put forth the work, but the rewards are worth it.
Yes, they are. And I ought to say too, it's like, yeah, we thanked him so much. As far as I know, we weren't kind of like being like totally magnanimous. Oh yeah, we're not worthy. But it's like, you know, he does have such a busy schedule, and he does collaborate so much and contribute so much, you know, and create. So he generates so much. You know?
Yeah, and it's just not only that, he's such a hard worker, but he gives it back. Just he talk about his union work and being on committees and stuff like that, and that was one of the things that got a recurring theme, I guess, is return, pay it forward. With him talking to us, giving any of his insight, and it's 2 cents. So I mean and in this business, as stated before, it's nice to be humble and be appreciative, and return the gift, return the favor.
Yes. Haven't some professionals, or I guess people in the industry, like, haven't they returned that to you in some conversations? Like Frank Cho, you were talking about Frank Cho?
Well, I mean, some yes, some no. And with Frank Cho, that was more of a negative experience. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it happens, you know. I mean, as much as it is easy to say, you know, stay humble and all that kind of stuff, you do have those days. And I really don't hold, you know, one experience against some people who are like that or just have a bad experience. You know, people have bad days. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I've had other experiences too that were really great. Other artists that I've gone to conventions with, and, you know, just have been nice enough to say, hey, can you look at my stuff, my portfolio, and give their insight. For those out there who want to get in this business and don't know how or can't get any type of feedback, go to these conventions. There are artists there who are more than happy to take a look at your stuff, put it in a professional portfolio or a professional, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for?
Probably presentation. Yeah, right.
There we go, presentation. But, you know, go up to them and say, hey, you know, I'm working on this. It'd be, you know, an honor. Try to stay as respectful as you can. And the worst they can say is no. It's like, I don't have time. I got work to do. I'd really like to, you know, maybe they'll be able to work with you. It's like, oh, I have time here. Come back later. Or maybe I'll look at it right on the spot. You know, it doesn't hurt to ask. And again, these guys are so humble 99% of the time because they've been there and they want to help people get there. I am currently located in Northwest Portland area, and I've been fortunate enough to meet with certain people, shameless name drop, but Brian Michael Bendis, one of the great writers in comic books, does a class here through one of the local universities. And it was a great experience just spending the semester talking to people. I got to meet so many people in the industry, from Matt Fraction, Brian Michael Bendis, David Walker, who is also a co-instructor in this class, and just helped me improve my writing. And all the experiences that I never would have received on my own. So, and he was very grateful, very helpful, and it never seemed like he wasn't wanting to help. You know, so I mean, it's really, you're not losing anything by asking, hey, can you give me a hand? Can you give me a help? And if you can't make it to these conventions, or you don't have these wonderful teaching opportunities, try sending out an email. Hey, I got this. Hey, I got that. For someone like Brian Michael Bendis, it may be a while before you hear from them because they're extremely busy. But, you know, try your luck. You never know. And don't just stop at one. Try several others. If there's anyone that you admire, you know, just give a shout out in Instagram or email if it's possible. See if they have a website. I know some writers who actually do little professional writers who do little instructions and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to explore and do some research and ask for some help.
Yes, otherwise you could be working a job you hate, you know, as Bill had talked about.
Yeah. Right?
And just living in misery.
Yeah, that's a hardship, definitely.
Yep.
And we've all talked about this in the episode, but it's going to be a hardship, but the worst kind is doing the things that you don't love. Going through these trials in order to get where you want to get, it's worth it. But what's not worth it is just doing something you don't love for someone else, not you. It's just you have no passion, no soul in this job. You'll burn out.
Oh.
And that's a fate worse to death than me.
Goodness. And on that note, we probably ought to say goodbye.
Okay. With the theme of this episode, let's just say follow your passions. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again on a future episode of Comic Space.